Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down.
Here's a fifth wheel right here on the beach. I guarantee this is something that Ryan and I will never do. He might do it, he might do it without me, but I don't know.
We are on South Padre Island for our second time in the last week, and we have decided to put together 6 tips that we think will be helpful for your journey when you come out here.
Tip number 1, if you are going to South Padre and you also notice that Boca Chica is pretty close by, Boca Chica is where SpaceX is, and there's a really nice beach there, drive-on beach. We would recommend doing that in 2 separate days. We did it the last time in 1 day, and it was really too much. They look like they're a lot closer together than they actually are. It's about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic, to get from one to the other. So we would recommend doing Boca Chica 1 day and South Padre another day. So that's just a quick tip. Also, they randomly close the roads because of SpaceX, and they just had an explosion there. So you may want to get on the internet or call. We didn't do that. This is why we're giving you the tip. We didn't do it, and luckily we got through that day.
Right.
But we were talking to some people that couldn't get through because they randomly closed the roads if they're going to launch the spacecraft.
Tip number 2 is the visitor center. It seems obvious that you would want to go to a visitor center, but this one is actually quite nice. They have very knowledgeable staff there, and they give out some really good maps and brochures that are helpful navigating around the island. Right.
They have this this cool art trail, South Padre Island art trails, and this has all of the sandcastles and the turtle sculptures. That's kind of a thing on the island. There's a lot of those, and it kind of tells you where to go to see that, and the other maps just sort of lay out where everything is. But just stop in the visitor center, get your bearings before you venture down the island.
Yeah, it's just off the causeway to your right as you're coming onto the island.
So tip number 3, speaking of the causeway is free. There's no tolls coming over the causeway like Sanibel Island. You got to pay to go across the causeway. You don't have to pay, but there is a little section of road before you get to it that says slow down. You'll see sort of a flashing sign that says slow down, pelicans in the roadway. There's a little area where people fish, and I believe that the pelicans land in the road, and it's really kind of sad. There's all kinds of dead pelicans. A lot of dead pelicans on the side of the road, which isn't something you see very often. So just be aware that is, how many miles? You say 5 to 10 miles out of town, maybe? Yeah. Something like that. Just something to look for on your way in.
Tip number 4, if you come to the island without a t-shirt, no worries, because there are plenty of t-shirt shops for the tourists, just up and down the row, block after block.
It's very touristy in the main in the main part of the island where all the restaurants and hotels are. It looks very touristy. Don't let that deter you. Once you drive a little farther north or a little farther south, you get kind of out of that touristy bit. But if the touristy thing is your jam, then go for it. You got lots of. I'm not sure if there's any high-end shopping or even nicer shopping, not high-end, but nicer shopping. There probably is some boutiques and things on the island, but we didn't happen to see any. That's not what we were looking to do on the island. Tip number 5, if you like to go to the beach, you're definitely in the right place. On the south tip of the island is Isla Blanca County Park. There's a huge RV park there, about 600 RV sites. Costs about $12 to drive onto that section of the island, but the beaches there kind of seem to be where everything is happening. There's huge pavilions, boardwalks. A lot of it was closed or not being used because of COVID, but great place to picnic, kite surf, fly a kite, walk the beach, whatever. There was a lot happening down at that end of the park. If you want a little bit quieter beach, come to County Access 3. That's where we're sitting right now. A lot of people walking the beach. Again, it's the off season, but it's just a lot quieter, and there's no driving on the beach this section. Right. If you go farther north of County Access 3 to the County Access 5, you pay. If you bought a ticket down at the other place, you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay again, but you will have to pay probably $12 to get on the beach there. You can drive your truck or car on the beach and you can go for miles. There were so many cars parked, bumper to bumper. If that's what you're into, if you want to drive on the beach, and tons of people, and this is the off season, and it was packed. So I have no idea what it would be like in the on season, but the beach is not as wide down there. Maybe we were there at high tide, but the beach was not very wide there. No,
it was almost like one way.
Yeah, two-way traffic was a little hard. So, but that's where you go if you want to drive on the beach.
Mm-hmm. Tip number 6: there are a lot of restaurants on the island, and when we stopped at the visitors center, the gentleman there gave us some really good tips in terms of what he enjoyed in the area, and we did take him up on one in particular. It's the only place we've eaten so far. It was called Mahi Nick's. Dog friendly, and there are a lot of other dog friendly restaurants that we've found as we've been calling around to see where we're going to eat lunch today.
That Mahi Nick's, it was a great atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Eat outside.
Great food.
It was great food. Their French fries
they're huge.
Huge. I don't know why somebody would need such huge French fries, but that was good. And then we're going to try another place today that is also dog friendly. Mm-hmm. So if you want to bring your doggy along, you can do it here on South Padre. As we mentioned, we went to both Boca Chica and South Padre Island, and we realized after we videotaped all of the South Padre Island stuff, we didn't talk as much about Boca Chica. There isn't as much to say, honestly, about Boca Chica. You get on this road to nowhere, kind of. It just goes straight towards the ocean, and there's not a ton of traffic, and you're not sure where you're going to end up, but you basically dead end into the ocean, and just before the ocean is SpaceX. And you'll see from kind of afar, you'll see the rockets, and you'll see sort of the facility, and you can park before you get to it. A lot of people pull off to the right-hand side of the road, and you can see in these pictures here that we pulled off to the side of the road and took pictures. But you can keep on driving, and you can get really close to the rockets and take more pictures. There's a lot of people sort of jockeying for position there to park. You can also drive past SpaceX and just go right out to the beach. We parked on the edge of the beach because we weren't sure if you could drive on the beach, but you could. Most people were driving on the beach. I think a lot of fishermen go out and go to the left, and you can kind of go down where there's like an inlet, and a lot of people go fishing. We never did drive all the way down there. Be sure to check the tides if you do that, but it's really cool to get that close to SpaceX, but I don't believe there's anything else to do. You can't. It's not like a museum or anything like that. It's just basically seeing the rockets. That's where I believe we saw these tall buildings where we think they're probably manufactured or something. And then, they're out on the launch pad. So it's pretty cool to see. But that being said, there's not a lot going on down there.
Rockets and beach.
So, one more thing. When you're leaving Boca Chica, heading back towards South Padre and Brownsville, they do have checkpoints. They stop you and talk to you for just a second and make sure that you haven't picked up anyone illegal in your car from the water, I assume. So just be aware that they will stop you and ask you a few questions about why you're there and who you are.
Right. So thanks for watching our little introduction to South Padre Island. If you would, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Thanks so much.
And I really wanna know, if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs.